Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer and welcome to Best Kept Plans. Today's video is going to be a February 2023 budget recap using the printable version of the Budget by Paycheck workbook from the Budget Mom. If you're interested in seeing that, please stick around. Okay, so since we're doing a February 2023 budget recap, I thought we'd start out in the monthly view. As you can see, all of my bills are checked off. There was some variation in terms of what I usually budget for some of my bills versus what they actually were this month, and you're going to see that when we get into the nitty-gritty of my budget recap for February. I did try to do a no spend this month. It didn't work out great. I don't know. I just feel like I'm not in the mental capacity headspace to do a no spend right now. So maybe later on in the year I will attempt one. We'll see. But I want to cut forward to the recap pages for the month of February 2023. The first page we're going to talk about is my debt payment plan. So this is a page that I started using. I think I kind of sort of tried to use it last year, but not really. And then I've kind of finally gotten the hang of it this year. I like this page. I think it's a really cool way to just see how your progress is going with regards to paying off your debt. I currently have two different sources of debt. I have my Sikorsky, which is my car loan, and then Nelnet, which are my student loans. As you can see, I owe a little over $20,000 on my car. My minimum monthly payment is a little over $450. For my Nelnet student loans, I owe a little under $43,000, but I don't have a current minimum payment because federal loans are on hold. When it comes to extra debt payments, I did make some extra debt payments this month. So the only one that personally came out of my own income was paying this $584 towards my car loan. This Nelnet for $333. My employer is currently paying on my student loan for me every month. They have an incentive where they'll pay $4,000 towards my student loans every year for 5 years. Which is amazing. And so they do that in monthly payments directly to my loan. So $333.33. With these two extra payments, plus my usual monthly payment for my car, I was able to put over $1,000 towards debt this month, which is really, really awesome. With regards to my overall progress, I was able to decrease my debt by $1,356.82 from last month to this month, which is an improvement or a progress of 1.9%, which is really exciting. When it comes to my overall debt progress, this number here is not accurate to the debt I started with overall. It's accurate to what my debt was at when I purchased my car in June 2022. If I went with overall debt, you'd have to add like somewhere between $10,000 and $15,000 to this because my student loans were a lot higher. Before the pandemic, I was actively paying on them. And I think I paid somewhere between $10,000 and $15,000 towards them before the pandemic started. I just honestly don't feel like going back and looking through all that information because my loan borrower did change. So it would just be kind of annoying and honestly not worth it to me. So I'm kind of starting with what I had in June 2022 when I first bought my car. And overall, my progress, I've paid off since June 2022, $8,000, which is pretty amazing. That's 11.4%. If we flip this over and look at my monthly net worth tracker, I've been actively figuring out my net worth since the beginning of 2022. I actually really enjoy doing this. I think this is a really interesting page. My net worth last month was $154,668.34. I do keep my assets private, but my total assets are $218,730.26. And as we know from my last page, my debt totals to $62,846.53. Now, if I subtract my liabilities from my total assets, my net worth for the month of February was $155,883.73, which is an increase of $5,215.39 from January. Not as much as I would like, but not bad. Change in percentage, that was an increase of 0.8%. Now for my favorite part of the budget recap. I love the Where Did My Money Go worksheets in the Budget by Paycheck Workbook, and I specifically really love this page here, the monthly budget category breakdown. I just think this page is so helpful and useful with regards to budgeting. So let's start with the inflow up top. So basically my starting balance was money that I pulled in, and I feel like when I'm like putting my hand here, don't the numbers get kind of blurry? Look at that. It's because it's focusing over here. I don't know how to make that better. But basically my starting balance was money that I brought from January into February, and that was $659.22. My earned income for me is what I make from my full-time job. That's the only thing I put into earned income, $6,339.71. My other income is what comes in from other sources. So at the end of February, I did get paid out from Instagram and Amazon affiliate. That was about $50, so that's factored into here. Any money that people are repaying me for, because I made the purchase and they need to pay me money, things like that. And then savings use is exactly what it sounds like. This is money that came out of my sinking funds that I used this month. So other income was a little over $700, savings use was $650. All of this added together is my total monthly inflow, which was $8,349.12. Now, if we get into the actual budget categories, things that are listed in my monthly budget, they're not, I don't get fancy with it. Basically, something like my variable expenses, I just figure out what I budget per paycheck and multiply that by 2. Things like utilities and personal, I just figure out what those roundabout numbers should be. So the budgeted column isn't like all that fancy or special to me, but the monthly spent column really is. So groceries under budget, I ended up spending $228. Eating out, I was over budget. I'm not surprised. I ate out a few times. I ate out at some more expensive places. So, $285, over by $85, not terrible, but not great. Fortunately, I was under budget in gas. I spent $67 on gas. I was way under budget in miscellaneous, was helped to make up for that eating out. I only spent $98 in miscellaneous. For miscellaneous bills, I did spend a lot of money though, $1,075, is what it is. Savings, I really wish I would have saved more. I saved almost $2,900, but I always want to save $3,000, so not as much as I would have liked. Utilities were $414. Now, the reason why that number was higher than usual is because my Optimum, which is my home phone, cable, and internet, went up by $40 in the month of January. And I called them in January and I asked why, and they were like, we can refigure this all out for you. We'll make it back to being what it was last year, which was around $200. They said that will go into effect in February. They lowered my bill for January by $20, so I paid $220 in January. I got my bill for February, it was $240 again. So I called them up. I was very frustrated. I spoke to multiple people. They said, no, we're going to figure this out. We're going to lower your bill. It'll be $200, not a problem. They ended up figuring everything all out. They're able to lower my bill to be about $185. It won't go into effect until March though, so I was left paying a $240 bill. They claimed they were giving me a $12 credit on that, but it never showed up in my on my online payment screen, so I did pay the total $240. So I'm wondering if that credit is going to show up in March as well. We'll see. If I have an issue in March, I'm going to be so angry I can't even tell you. So that's why that was more. And then and also in utilities, my Verizon wireless bill, my cell phone bill was a little bit higher than normal. I did purchase new phones, I think in January, Yeah, and so my bill for February was going to be a little bit higher, but then it's going to come back down again for March. Not as low as it was because I am paying off that new phone, but not as high as it was in February. Personal was lower because I accidentally budgeted one of the things that should be in personal under utilities. So that's part of why this is so high as well. I've decided that like Spotify, Netflix, Audible, those should really be in personal. And so I put Netflix in utilities and didn't realize it until after the fact and didn't want to bother changing it. Housing is just my rent for $600. Giving, I did give more than my budgeted $20. I think I sent some money to UNICEF for the earthquakes in Turkey and Syria, and then I think sent some money to Sandy Hook Promise, which is a really near and dear charity to my heart. And then for debt, I again $13.74, which is great. I did use some money from my sinking funds. I bought a new microphone. I'm actually not using it for this video because I didn't realize I didn't have the proper attachment to connect it to my phone. So I'm actually using my old microphone, but I will soon be using that new microphone for all my videos. And that's where the $100 came out of my side hustle sinking fund. And then I had to pay my RN and APRN licenses for the month of March. So I used $280 from that. Now, before I can add all this up, I have to factor in money that I'm transferring, or I shouldn't say transferring, that I'm rolling over from February into March. If I don't do that, we're going to be off because the budget bonds method is a zero-based budget method, and we need to have everything inflow match outflow. So what I'm moving or what I'm rolling from February to March is $673.44. So I have that factored in here. If I add everything together, we have $8,349.12. That does equal our inflow. So we were off by $0 for February, which is very, very exciting. Now, if I flip this over and look at my monthly debt and savings breakdown, we have my two debt sources listed here again. We can see the vast majority of what I put to debt this month. Well, personally, what I put to debt, it all went towards my car loan, my Sikorsky loan. This Nelnet 333 came from my employer. For savings, we have to factor in our total monthly income, not inflow. That's everything on the previous page except for savings used. So that total is $7,699.12. And then I saved almost $2,900. That means I saved 37.6% of my income. And as you see my breakdown, the breakdown makes sense, right? Highest priority, or what I put the most money towards, was my house, $1,307. Second on that list was my sinking funds at $980. I didn't put anything towards side hustle in the month of February. $5 challenge, $35. 23 savings challenges, $242. 52-week challenge got $186, and then emergency fund got $146. So the two biggest amounts here are my house and my sinking funds, which to me are my two top priorities. So this definitely shows that where my money is going, that I'm saving, is aligning with my personal goals. Lastly, we are going to take a look at the monthly spending comparison. This is where I can look at my numbers from last month and compare them to my numbers for this month. Now, we do want to look at an inflow change because that can factor into what we see here. And my inflow did decrease by $187.73, so not a lot from January to February. We're even with regards to over budget and under budget, or I shouldn't say over and under budget. Over compared to what I spent last month and under what I spent last month in my categories here. Did spend less on groceries, but spent more on eating out. Spent more on gas, but only by $6. Spent less in miscellaneous by a couple bucks, which was great. Miscellaneous bills went up. That's definitely something I want to try to decrease for the month of March. I did save less, which is also something that I want to change for the month of March. Utilities, I know why that went up. Personal, this went down because I just messed up in the way I categorize things. I gave more, which is really exciting. I put less to debt, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. And then we just had some sinking fund stuff at the bottom. So that is it for that part of my February 2023 budget recap. I'm going to zoom on out here because I want us to go towards the back of my budget book. I do have all my trackers back here, my 2023 Savings Challenge tracker, my 52-week challenge tracker. I have my $5 challenge tracker, which is what I want to look for right now. So I'm going to pull out my $5 challenge envelope. So I save every $5 bill that I come across. I've been doing that since, I think, early 2020, if I'm not mistaken. No, 2021. January of 2021, I started this challenge. And I actually have this container here. I showed this and I think one of my budget with me's in February because I forgot to do it in my January recap. But basically, I've been putting all those $5 bills in this container since January 2021. You cannot get into this unless you break this container. So my goal is to fill this up until I can't fit any more $5 bills in it, and then I'll break it open. So I list all the $5 bills that I am saving in this challenge tracker. I have an envelope. I put them all in this envelope. I don't update the tracker on the back because that just seems monotonous to me. But now that it's the end of February, I'm going to take all these fives and I'm going to put them in this container, and then we'll start over for the month of March. So we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we should have 7 $5 bills in here. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these all together and I'm going to try to shimmy them in here. I try to do this as neatly as possible just so that I can be as good about space as I can be, so I can fit as many fives in here as possible. And those slid in pretty nicely, which is great. So there they are. My new $5 bills are in here. And then I'm just going to continue on going with this in March. I do have my side hustle tracker over here. As you can see, I have 2 contributions for, well, actually really 3 for February. And I'm pulling out this cash with my next cash envelope stuffing, which is going to be for my first paycheck in March. And then, yeah, I have my donations tracker here. Credit score tracker. I do have to fill in my net worth tracker. I haven't done that yet, but I do have my car loan payoff tracker back here and my house savings tracker, both of which I've been keeping up with. So very exciting to be keeping up with all of these trackers. They really are very motivating when it comes to budgeting. So highly recommend using trackers if you're not already. And a lot of those ones I just showed are available in my Etsy shop, which is always linked down below in the description box. If you have any questions about the way that I closed out my budget, please do not hesitate to put them down below. And as always, everyone, please be safe. Bye-bye.